Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Dev Fireside chat. I'm Jacob, and I've got with me Howard and Bubbles as always, and Miko's joined along for the ride. I realise that by pressing start streaming, OBS has already ruined my chat interface, so I'll fix that while somebody talks about what's been going on in the past few days.
And also, I get to be reintroduced because I was gone last week. As always, I am Matthew Sashkivias. It's great to be back. I had a little bit of a holiday, but now I'm ready to rock and roll. We had a great week of guns. Howard is muted at the moment, but he will be coming back. He'll be giving you your in-depth office look. We've had Eric out again, and still because he's on his holiday. Howard, you're back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Huzzah!
As Howard's going to be talking about what's happening in the office, what we've been working on, definitely start asking us questions. The more we get rolling, the more we'll keep going through. So, Howard, start us off.
This week we basically were just wrapping up sprint and doing some planning for packs and for EGX. So basically, at least the sprint features are pretty well wrapped at this point. They're going to be a number of things that we're going to get into the update, which will freeze for testing and debug next Monday. But the UI changes are going in. The HUD changes. I mean, Eric's working on a new map that is the deathmatch version of Raid, and there may be more maps, but I have to confirm with him. He's out at the moment. And then there'll be a number of fixes such as the whole AI long-standing AI gunner issue, what tool they're carrying issue. We're going to get into voice command sets from the workshop, and believe Tim's also looking at a few additional workshop items. And there are all probably other. I mean, there's other things top of mind I need to look up, but we'll get the release notes going probably by Monday, so we can get everybody started on testing. And then EGX planning is pretty much set. We got travels arrangements and all that stuff ready. PAX, we got the travel arrangement done as well, so we'll be going to those two places. Might consider going to other shows, but not sure yet.
Oh, but PAX and Eurogamer, that's pretty good going already.
Yeah, well, there are a few more things like Unite or basically there are a number of things happening that we might consider, but we'll see.
Okie dokie.
All right, and Byron's first question is: so what's happening with the hit markers and glowy targeting on ships in the dev app? It is painfully bad.
I mean, that's just not like I said. I mean, that's just not something that we're making comments on back on right now. It's just something that we're experimenting with or whatever. So it's basically outside the scope of testing and not something that we're doing anything for the update. So I mean,
Yeah. So
that's really that.
Those new hit markers, they are or aren't involved with the new UI, or are they just?
What's that?
So the new hit markers, are they tied in with the new UI? Are they going in, or are they just something else we're looking at?
No, they're not. I mean, this is something that we made pretty clear, I think, over the last few weeks of testing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, and just to reiterate for people who may not have heard it differently, do not worry about new hit markers, is what we were saying. Worry about the other new UI elements. That's what we definitely want feedback on. Everyone's going to start getting a bunch of emails and notices if you're part of any of the dev app crews. If not, Guns of Icarus experimental crew, I'll be putting up a link for it into the chat. If you'd like to join in, we definitely love all the feedback we can get. You'll get a very specific list of what we're looking at, what we want to know, what you think of. It'll make sure that gets to you ASAP next week once we have the list of what's ready to be tested. So, in summation, Byron, do not worry about the glowy targeting on ships right now.
Yeah, don't worry, it's all good.
Yep. And when I was putting up the notices, I did promise that there would maybe be vague hints about co-op, so we can definitely talk about the work that's happened on co-op and what the teams are working on. Anything exciting, Howard, that you've seen?
Well, was prototyping a new mode this week, obviously, and trying to get some of the, just the current mechanics in a good place. Warren's working on UI for the whole resource and image progression mechanics, and I think, hopefully we're gonna be obviously open it up for people to get builds and start playing with us, and I mean, hopefully we soon release but some UIs as well to showcase the whole like resource mechanic, because it's not right now with no UI, it's obviously not very intuitive, it's not very clear. So I think at least the few game modes that we're working on, they're like, they're coming along, and the new mode we may not be ready for people to test right away, but I think that will be okay. At least there will be 3 modes that people can test with pretty soon. So I mean, that's what we're gonna try to aim for. And then I started to really look at the question of how we're gonna distribute and release on Steam as well. But obviously there's a lot of complexity. I need to talk to Steam, but at least I'm trying to get the dialogue going. So.
Yep. And then Howard, even though you are hiding your face, people are asking, "Is Howard sick? Is Howard sick?"
Yeah. I have a cold actually today, so not so like if you guys can't hear me that well or whatever, you can totally feel free to ask me to speak up. But yeah.
No, you went robotic for a second, but it sounds like you're good to go now. And then. One question, besides the upcoming big ship, will there be a special occasion in-game where all of us will cooperate to play against one big monster of a ship? By the way, you guys rock.
Well, that right now we're still balancing everything with 4-player crew, but I mean, that's just kind of a long-standing request. I mean, something that we definitely thought a lot about as well. I mean, it's just really cool to do. I think once we have the core down pretty solid, hopefully, we can definitely entertain that for sure, because it will be highly entertaining, I think.
Well, so I think he's talking about like in co-op mode. Will there be any occasion where it's one just like frightfully massive ship? So like almost like correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but like a Death Star situation where it's so big and you're all just trying to destroy it.
Oh, I see. Yeah. That is something that we definitely thought about as well, and that will also be massively cool, I think. I mean, it's just like your fortress type of siege mode. Mm-hmm. That'll be amazing.
Can you tell us more about the dedicated servers feature, like what to expect, how will it work? I have concerns about splitting up the player base.
So the way that we're thinking about working generally is that you'll have. Obviously, we'll continue to host our servers, and people will have the option and the wherewithal to host their own servers, and they will see that listed out. I mean, we'll have a list of like player hosted servers that people can actually join into. Whether that's gonna segment the player base, hopefully not. I mean, we're definitely trying to make it as integrated as possible, but then people will be able to do that, and then with player hosted servers, people also will have parameters that they can customize their matches with, and so that is also going to be, I think initially we'll need to just basically finalize exactly which parameters that we're going to open up at the start, and I will try to get that we'll try to get that finalized pretty soon. And then so like in the beginning, if like all the parameters, if not all the parameters are are changeable by the players. That will be hopefully a goal where we can make more and more of the parameters changeable. So like there may be some things that we can have it be customizable, and then we'll try to make more customizable, as we continue to roll this out. So generally, yeah, I mean, it's just a way for people to host their servers to kind of customize their own game experience, and for us to also list it so other people can see it and potentially join it.
Mm-hmm. And then, did anyone at Muse watch the E3 Bethesda showcase? They were releasing a map maker for their player base to make and add maps for Doom. Any chance of something like that for Guns of Icarus? That would be awesome, mostly because we'd love to have the tools to make maps easier on our own side, like not just for players kind of thing. We have a very manual process right now. Was Alex looking into something like that for at least just for our cut?
Well, obviously, this is something that Alex has been working on for about a sprint and a half, almost 2 sprints now. And so, once that does happen, we can think about, how we can leverage that and give people the ability to customize their own levels, which will be pretty amazing. But yeah, I mean, so far it's a really tedious process. I mean, it's our largest bottleneck, which is actually why we're trying to make more tools and try to automate that and try to potentially procedurally generate some of this stuff as much as we can. But yeah, I mean, right now that is such a big bottleneck. I mean, we're not going to be able to pass that burden off onto you guys just yet, at least. So we'll try to figure that out and see how much of that we can have it be exposed to players and have it be usable by you guys, and that would be cool. And so I mean that I think that more than before, this is like more of a reality, I would say.
And then are we getting pretty close to the release of Co-op? And as Howard said, he's in talks with Steam right now for how to get it out to all you guys, like at least the early alpha beta situation. So we are definitely getting a lot closer. All right, and then how are MMR match-made players going to interact with personal servers?
They won't. I mean, basically, if you are like player-hosted servers is like modded and whatever, then you won't be. Basically, you'll be playing on the matches and whatnot, but you won't be able to like I mean, stuff like MMR won't be counted.
I've been following this game for years, ever since the Adventure Mode Kickstarter, and I have been wanting the open world-esque steampunk RPG that seems to be so niche that no other company has tried it. I'd like to know what the big vision for Adventure Mode is. It all seems vague at times, and what your final vision is. Could you please elaborate?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what our vision is, we're also trying to make or trying to realize, like as in now. So the vision is basically to create more of a sense of the world first and foremost, so that there's more of a reason and rhyme and a purpose for you to play the game beyond just your friends and your crew and playing matches, right? So there is more of a sense of the world. There's more of a lore in the history of the world that we want to make players a part of and permanently. And also there's more of a factional breakdown in the world and geography, and so there is also a factional progression aspect to this, where factions can have developed their own technology and to basically progress and gain not necessarily dominion, but essentially like to affect the rise and fall of the world and whatnot. There's also obviously a player progression aspect to this as well, and so in addition to PvE, all the PvE stuff that we're doing, which is like basically a new way to play the game, there's really more of a world meta and a factional meta around it. and also we'll want to, I mean, longer term, there are a lot of really interesting things that we can do, obviously, such as like, say more asymmetric type of game modes potentially, but also like, stuff like to do more with like resources, where we can, like we talked about really early on, having the concept of like doing, having like some type of like auction places or like, maybe towns that you can visit and whatnot. That we probably, I don't know if we could like, we'll have maybe some representation of that. But as far as like, places that you can like walk and hang out, maybe not at the moment, but that's also like sort of a dream. And then beyond that, I mean, I think very early on we had thoughts about, building like an economic simulation model for it, but that may be outside the scope, like at least for a long while, because we realize that's sort of not necessarily at the core of what we do, but it's also kind of really immense in scope. So
then what does MMR consist of? So it's built off and there's a lot of math in this, so I'll let you like look it up on your own, but the Glico 2 system. A very brief explanation would be, if you beat someone with a higher MMR and you're a lower MMR, you gain more MMR than if you beat someone lower MMR than you. Again, there's a very fancy formula for all of it. It's all pretty well open, so if you just Google Glico 2, the Wikipedia page will show up and have all the info on there, kind of thing. And then instead of experimenting with the crappy hit markers and glowing ships, can you please add the experimental ammos back to the dev app?
Yeah, that we could do as well. Is that, I don't know if it's Byron again, but yeah, we do actually need to.
It's DT Rivi.
Okay. But we do actually, first of all, we do need to experiment with that, by the way, because there are like information, especially in co-op, there are information where the hit marker currently doesn't really display as well, they're just not displaying really. So we do really need to experiment with the hit marker and actually try to see ways we can improve upon that, especially for players learning the game. All right, and the current hit markers that are in the game right now are not the first iteration hit markers that we put in the game. So it's been like 2 iterations now, I think. So I mean, so hit marker is something that we will continue to experiment with, and I think it's the right thing to do. And also with like enemy hit feedback and whatnot, it is also something that we should continue to experiment. So as far as like concerning that it's like a waste of time, no, it's not. Absolutely don't think it's a waste of time at all. But it's actually really quite critical. But as a trade-off of what we need to spend time on, yeah, I mean, everything's a trade-off. But we'll anyways, I don't think this is time wasted. So, and then wait, I don't think I answered the second part of the question, which is
that was no. You answered at the start. Can we add the ammos back into the dev app?
Oh yeah, and that we can do as well. Yeah, I mean, we talked to you.
Injection clip.
And then so what if we let captains decorate their steering wheels? Which I like the sound of. I feel like it's in our ideas board somewhere of just being able to put bobbleheads.
It's something that we actually spec'd out and wanted to do, but just kind of didn't get to. There was actually more with. Yeah, there was actually more with shape customization that we wanted to do. I mean, ideally, like we would love to give you slots that you can like decorate with individual items, and also you have one of the slots would be like your helm slot. Where you can kind of decorate your wheel or like put a totem or a figurehead there, like bobblehead there, kind of a thing, which is like pretty cool, like your good luck charm, and so on. But that just it kind of didn't happen, and now it is like I guess once like the things like the whole ship customization stuff's like out there, I think we're just like, okay, we kind of got into a phase and we'll do something else, but it's cool though. It was actually spec'd out, but didn't get to it.
And then Are we going to do more with badges? I actually spent the week specking out something that showed off badges better. It's still being in the works, so I don't want to go too far into it. But I would definitely love, because there's a lot of amazing badges that our artists have made. So I definitely want to give you guys a chance for when you earn really cool ones like bounty or tournaments or really high-level captains ones, so you can show them off better. So
Yeah, I think right now, basically, I think what we're saying is just that the way we showcase rewards, like, isn't great. It isn't that cool. So, yeah, I mean, we'll try to get. Well, I mean, Warren right now is like, he's doing so many things, but once I think he's at a good he's got like his top priority stuff out of the way. We do want to have him look at like how rewards are displayed right now, and to dress that up and make it like really cool. So
then Omniraptor asks, you guys mentioned experimenting with non-combat mechanics. We already have burning tools and buffing tools. Are there any other mechanics that you've considered running for the utility of a ship?
Yeah, I mean, there so like some ideas. I think it was I forgot who was it. Jazzman or Disaster, somebody like also brought up this idea of having, say, for instance, skills that could make you. That's kind of like a buff against Sandstorm, with shield against Sandstorm and stuff like that, against different environmental effects. And I thought that was actually pretty interesting because it might encourage people to just have more of a risk-reward consideration for going into sandstorms or going into the environment. So like, it's like, okay, fine, if I want to set up some ambush or something, I might like be in the sandstorm, for example. But that will like, that will at least like, so I have something that will at least lessen the effect of environmental damage when I'm in there. And I mean, I thought that could be actually pretty interesting. But
did we ever get an answer to the purpose of the gear symbol in the top right of the dev app UI?
The gear, I think is that the like the what do you call it? Like like the Crazy King scorekeeping. Is that what it is?
I think
is that what you're talking
that's
about?
the location. I don't know. Like you said,
I think it's
the top right gear.
4, yeah, if I recall correctly. Something like that.
I think the top right was where all the score information was going to go. I don't know what the gear is, other than it sounds like some aesthetic. I don't remember it.
I think that was kind of like built into the design of the score itself. So like a backdrop or something. Who knows?
Will Muse be adding a ship to Aerodrome? So I guess will we be joining in Aerodrome 3?
I don't know, will we?
We should.
We definitely should. There should be a Muse ship.
Yes.
You know what? I will sign up. I don't know who I'll get to join me on the ship, but I will sign up for the Aerodrome right after this.
Awesome.
There will be a Muse ship in the Aerodrome.
We'll be there.
Oh, right. Now we're on. Now we're talking.
Character customization like body type, facial structure, and cough, facial hair, cough, cough. Is any of that in the works?
Facial types not in the works right now, even though I think it's a long-standing like request. I think another thing that's like really high on the list was to basically separating the mouthpieces, so you can customize. You can have a say a goggle and a cigarette at the same time.
Or a beard.
Yeah, and yeah, that's also that's just also stuff that we need to do. There's just a lot of stuff that we need to do, I realized.
No, yeah, we definitely have an ideas pile that is quite large.
Yeah. A lot of great ideas, though. Believe it or not.
Yeah. Someone saying bring they're having a face-off contest of like when people vote for Battle of the Dunes, or when everyone brings a munker to Desert Scrap. I forget, did the munker lost yesterday for the dev games, right?
Did it?
Nope.
No, it won. It won. We lost against them. The
Well, that's
Monker.
good.
I think you crushed us once, but then we kind of came back and
Yeah,
were like,
I thought
Yeah.
the Monker did very well. Sadly.
The Monker still has 100% win rate over 7 games for dev games. So
yes. It's like the super weapon.
It is. It's overpowered. It's overpowered precisely because you underestimate it. Or we don't actually. We don't underestimate it.
It just.
I have a healthy level of respect
Really?
for floating explosions of doom.
Respect. I call it terror. These things are frightening.
Steel Shark says, "Can I put my cigarette in my goggles?" That would be frightful for you. I feel.
Yeah. I don't know if that would go so well. I mean, I've lost my goggle there.
Will there?
Burns.
The next actual question: will there be any way to help our teammates more, like allowing team-to-team boarding to help repair? And I guess on that angle, will there be any like utility ways that one captain can help another, other than hey, destroy the ship, destroying me?
We had this discussion last week actually, and I thought it was a really interesting idea. Like just like simple concepts like a fire hose, for example, putting out fires in the friendly ships and stuff. Like almost, if you will, like TF2 kind of concept where ships can play more than just one role in attacking. You know. So it was an interesting idea for sure.
And could you please get rid of the clouds on Desert Scrap, or change it so the clouds circle around the point?
Oh, but that defeats the challenge.
Defeats
the whole
some of the
point, isn't
challenge,
it?
at least.
I mean, it's like that's the whole thing that could be the turning point. Like every little bit of damage helps. You know, when you're sitting in there.
Anyway, so yeah, like guys, so like I was poking around the dev app and whatever, just looking at the gear. Yeah, like I kind of I get. Well, at least I know what gear. It's just like basically the match, like it matched the top right gear, right? Yeah, that's really designed for scorekeeping. So
Yeah. Makes sense.
What is the blank black square on the player profiles? It looks like in game a profile pic should be looking at player options, but it's always blank. So I do remember when Emily worked on this. I forget what the point of it was going to be.
Yeah, it originally were gonna show your avatar with your outfits and whatnot, just show you, but that never happened. Oh my god, that is funny. It is funny that that has never happened, but yeah.
It still is useful in party chat though, because you can see who's speaking because the little icon fills up that box. So you have it for that in that case.
Well, that would be an accident.
It's just very.
That would be a
subtle.
completely
Yeah, we
accidental
should do
benefit.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So if we're going to bring feedback to the stuff on DevApp, should we do it here or in a specific form? You should do it at feedback@musegames.com. Every piece of feedback should go there. It is the best way to get responses, best way for us to see it, best way for us to put it in the hands of the guy who needs to see it. Because if we,
I think to Byron's point, we probably should do better at just kind of giving people like what we're testing at. Like I think maybe we should put that as a bulletin on the forum somewhere. Like, it's like, okay, fine, for this version of dev app, like what exactly are we testing for? Like what's the scope of testing?
When we start testing, we always put things up in a couple places.
Yeah,
we haven't
but
started testing it. So
No, I know. I'm just saying that could be a sort of a residual thing. Like, we just leave it up there, like whatever. I mean, and kind of amend it when we add new things to it so that people don't get confused as to, this is something that I should be worried about, just give comments about and stress over.
True.
Right?
So the dev app already has more updates than it has like testing or testing changes, because Alex pops things on there or Eric pops things on there quickly, kind of thing.
Yeah, I know. But as far as like the things that we really want to be testing and not, like I think we can probably just put it up on a consistent basis as a focus, just so that like people don't constantly wonder like what just like what are some of the half-baked stuff in there, some of the work in progress placeholder, whatever, versus something that we actually want feedback on. I think we all I'm saying is like I guess we could probably communicate that better so that people don't like freak out about, oh my god, we're putting in something that
Yeah, we can definitely look at that. So Steamino says, my biggest problem with the Sandstorm is not the damage, it's the invisibility buff it conveys to everyone inside it. And he plans on fixing that. So like how a ship will just disappear inside a cloud.
Oh, the ship disappearing inside the cloud? What do you mean?
Yeah, like
It's been around for a while.
that's intended behavior. Like
Yeah. It's intended behavior. It's not the prettiest and most efficient intended behavior, but we know it exists, and that's the way that we sort of want it to be.
I think that's the best way Alex could make it. I don't know if he's done anything more at it, but
Like you mean like either you mean like what is it appearing and disappearing, having like kind of be
Well, yeah, they'll be like
there's,
gradual. Yeah.
like a little bit showing. Yeah, I mean that the way we create clouds is actually I would say is actually pretty advanced. As far as like just having like flat surface assets or textures, whatever, to somehow present them as volumetric clouds is actually pretty. It's actually pretty advanced. It's something that like for example, like we can do. We'll be doing talks, with Unity about. It's something that like Unity will be like, whoa, what are you guys doing with this? Like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's actually pretty advanced. But having said that, yeah, it's in pushing the technology envelope, there's still limitations. What we can do.
As a kind of interim, would it be possible to have it so that if a ship needs to de-render, that it fades instead of just snapping? Would that be? I mean, it doesn't change the fact that things
the thing
disappear.
is like the thing is that like you're in the cloud, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's like it's sort of like I don't know when you kind of trigger that to make it like look realistic, because I mean every like inch that you spin in the cloud or whatever, it's like your distance 2 and 4 away from like the cloud versus like your player ship distance, whatever. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe we could look at that, but it's like, I just top of mind. I think it would be hard pressed to, like think that okay, you'll make it look realistic. Let's say like okay, fine, what if your player ship is also gaining distance, and does it fade out and then somehow it fades in, fade out, like just.
Well, the cloud cover does kind of like fade you out. Like if you're at a distance, you will start to see that ship disappear in the clouds. But
yeah.
I think what a lot of players are referring to is the ships being right next to you. Like you can stone's throw away, and they just gone. A lot of people might misinterpret that as a bug as opposed to the intended feature that was one.
Oh, sure. Yeah, fair, but yeah, it's sort of I guess.
Easily misconstrued. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean. It will be, yeah. I mean, I guess we can ask Alex to see if it's possible for us to do better there. But
yeah, the level system in Skirmish is really good. But what do you think about something like the ranking system in CS:GO? I think it'd be really good to see how good someone is. Well, my one issue with that, and it's one of the reasons that we don't show MMR, is elitism. And let's say you have a really high MMR or ranking, and then you lose a game and it goes down, most people are going to blame their crew. They're going to get you're going to get a lot more anger and a lot more. Just
I think
violence.
To Matt's point, it is the nature of our game is a little bit different from the nature of CS:GO. I think is that in CS:GO. I mean, I think featuring or honoring individual players is really more apt, right? It's a better fit because you. As a player, you really can affect the battlefield, I think, as an individual player. So, yeah, I mean, if you're individually that good, you should be featured, I think. You should be displayed in that fashion but affirmed in that fashion. But I think with us, though, it's sort of not that way, right? I mean, the game doesn't really work that way. So I think to have that kind of ranking, it's I think
clan listing. We do have like a leaderboard for clans, but it's like it would be more interesting to have maybe some leaderboard.
Yeah, but the clan leaderboard is based on things like being commended and various social features. It's not like, oh, these guys are just the winningest winners.
Yeah, because it really is.
Most of the clans that are listed on that though are quite new, and so it doesn't feature all the clans that exist and are most active in that context either. Like they say the most active clans, but really they're quite different from listing. So
Yeah,
maybe that's the context they're bringing out as well. Maybe.
I think the way this game like works, it's not as individualistic, right? So featuring individual players doesn't make it as much sense, I think.
And then we have a big topic coming up of the plush pyramidians. Basically, when are we going to get stuffed use of all the ships?
Yes, we need plush airships. I want a spire, like yay big, that I can just run in circles and.
Yeah, just no arguments there. Yeah, I don't mind.
We gotta make it happen.
We got to make one. Damn, I'll
my long list.
I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I'll buy it. We're not toy plushie designers, but if someone makes one, yeah, we'd like to license it and sell it. I'll buy one.
There you go.
D-Trivy says, what you should do is add new content to the game, like to guns and ships to the dev app, and have players help you balance it for PvP. Balancing is definitely an important part of new content, but it's not like the major thing holding us back. It's not like I wish I could say that we had a massive stockpile of like ships and guns ready for everyone to test, kind of thing. But it actually takes a lot of like art time, and a lot of that, almost all of it, I think right now is going towards co-op mode and building entire factions of ships.
Ship takes it's not just creating the art, but it's also it's also level design. So it's not really like, weapons balance. So just like, okay, fine, let's give this ship a little bit more thrust, a little bit more turning, and so on and so forth. But it's actually level design as well. So that takes a while to iterate. But then because we have to iterate, and then obviously we have to tweak the assets for the ships, and it definitely takes a while. Ship is actually another huge deal. So ship and maps are like our largest art bottleneck essentially. And George is actually working on a number of tools that can help us create ship faster, iterate on ships faster. So that's something we're doing as well for especially for co-op. I think for something like skills and whatnot, like it's probably easier to balance. But I think the thing is with balance is that what I do want to say is just like, we also take people's how people play, what people do, and people's feedback into serious consideration and major consideration. But it's not the only thing. Just because we know what mechanics we're trying to implement, and we know what the potential effects of them are on our current system and balance. And so it's like also like people have their use cases and people have biases for better or worse, right? I mean, and people have their own use cases, so it's like going to be hard if we're just like, okay, fine, we get these use cases, listen to these individual feedback, and try to make balanced decision based off of them. Granted, I mean, a lot of them make a ton of sense and they're very reasonable, but still it's something that we'll absolutely consider, but not like, just be like, okay, fine, let me ask what this player thinks. Okay, fine, then that's that, So
yeah. So D-Tree saying you'll have a stock of assets after co-op. So basically, will we be bringing any of the co-op stuff back to skirmish once it's done?
Yeah, I think you can expect some to be brought to co-op. I think not all, but at least some. So I think when co-op's out, like we'll have some assets in place to bring them to skirmish. Yeah.
Technical question: how do you determine how long it takes until the game starts after the lobby countdown has ended? Usually 10 to 20 seconds. Is that based on the spec of the system's players? No, it's just a standard amount of time, and the quicker you finish loading, the more time you're going to see. So if you finish the game loading in 1 second, you'll see like the full 30-second block, or if you finish it in 20 seconds, you'll see 10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's also just I think what you're talking, just like between like when you're loading into a match and stuff, right? Like it's also just taking consideration of like connection between servers and loading in assets and seeing like before, we had say a shorter wait time, I believe, and people would like load into the mass. Some people who have like maybe a little bit more latency and whatnot, they would load into they would just basically load into the match where things are still loading. It's sort of immersion breaking, and so we made it a little bit more conservative.
And then when a ship dies, you should be able to see everything crack into pieces and fall out of the sky and look down contemplating your choices. So basically a better ship death for the people on the crew that's being destroyed.
I think we could potentially do something about that.
And I know that's been asked for a couple times, just a more better than just a poof respawn screen kind of thing, which is what when you're dying you see. How about adding a spectate option for a projectile camera, clicking a button when spectating gunner so you follow the projectile path? That was actually being discussed when we were doing the last spectate upgrade. There was a lot of like, how would it follow? Which projectile would it follow? And a lot of like frustrating things about that, so it was actually just skipped over. But we can definitely look at it if we go back to the spectator system and figure out some interesting ways to do that. Do you have any solid plans for after co-op?
Solid plans for after co-op? Yes and no, I guess. I mean, no, in a sense that once we roll out co-op, I expect us to be supporting it, right? I expect that we can still add some cool stuff to it, and just how much cool stuff we add to co-op, versus like, oh, fine, we're gonna do another expansion of some kind, and that's sort of TBD, right? I mean, that's really up in the air. So, that's sort of up in the air because I mean, conceivably, we could be adding like a lot of things most things, if not all things, that we have originally wanted to add to co-op actually. So it's that. I mean, beyond that, I would say it's up in the air. But like, will we be like doing something more than just, oh, okay, fine, here are some PvE maps and game modes? Yes, I mean, absolutely yes.
Right. And Byron says that I will slaughter thousands of babies in the name of corn if you will put the Tesla in skirmish mode.
Wow.
Okay, fine.
Wow.
We could, all right. We could. It could be like how it's like a kind of a multiple target plane shooter. We target multiple components. It's like a component disabler kind of a thing with some special properties. That's possible. It's possible.
I ask if we do put it in the game, Byron, that you do not kill thousands of babies, though. But I'm sure Corn would be very thankful for the sacrifice. And yes, I do know what you're referencing. Skulls for the skull throne. Congrats. I'm a Zinch guy, so I have to be against you just inherently. Are we still going to get our cold, beady hands on co-op mode this month?
This month?
Yeah, for June. Because we talked about it, I think, last month, that June was where we're aiming for goal-wise.
I mean, sorry.
You were muted.
Yeah, I had to mute for a little bit, but yeah, I heard June. I'm sweating because June there's like 10 days left, 11 days left in June, so I'm sweating.
It's not like Arizona, for instance, which is cooking eggs.
No, I'm sweating not because of heat. I'm sweating because of a different kind of heat.
It's pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
You can feel it. It's right
I think.
there.
Well,
Right
I mean,
there.
after Monday, we'll talk about it, and I think it is about time we realistically say, like if it's not like okay end of June, or if I miss it, whatever, at this time I'll feel really bad, and you guys obviously have legitimate reason to yell at me for it. But exactly what the rest of the stuff we need to do are, and what would like, and then when we can get it done. So I think we should owe a bit more definitive answer as far as like when the Kickstarter backers and the people who pre-order will get the build. And that, I mean, I know that's like, I know generally like, there are a few things that we still need to get done. But I think by Monday, because we're obviously wrapping up sprint and we'll start planning for the next sprint, we'll need to really be more definitive about when we're going to wrap up, like for our Kickstarter backers. So and I think it would be really exciting, actually. And by the way, I also think around Steam, even with our just current page, whatever, we could start distributing keys for co-op. But I just don't know right now if what we currently have is actually what we actually will launch with. But still, I mean, we could use it to distribute some keys, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest step is we're talking to Steam. Like Howard has shot off emails and we're scheduling everything out. And Steam, because Steam is the guys who control Steam, or Valve is guys. So they're going to be able to tell us if our plan is good for releasing it out to you guys. Like not the when, but the how. Like how we release it, which is the really biggest part. Because we want to make sure we make it, as big for you guys, that Steam likes it and all that stuff. So we're definitely, we're on that stage where we're trying to get it to you guys and figure out the best way to do it. So. And there was a question earlier, which I missed, but I don't want to miss. Do we have any plans to buff the Minotaur after the latest nerf?
Please.
It wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, if people have specific suggestions about how we can buff it, absolutely. I mean, it's
guys.
Like just because it functions sort of like mines, right? And how it alters how it affects player control over their own ship, the ability to control their own ship, right? It is really interesting of a gun to balance, I think. Like originally we obviously had it more buffed when we released it, and people were not having it. So
I had a discussion with few players yesterday about the idea of using like impact bumpers as a sort of way to diminish the impact from Minotaurs, and that would actually make that tool more useful for the more skilled pilots, since generally you'll see that used with a lot of novice pilots, which is fine, or in specific circumstances.
I agree. I think that's an interesting.
That would definitely be a really good tool for that. So
yeah, I think that's an interesting way to look at it, right? Because then, if we're just talking about how much knockback, how much shatter, how much any damage it does, it's like, it's gonna be, we're walking a very, 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 tight rope, because it's like if you dial up a little bit, people think it's OP. If you don't, people think it's worthless. It's like. Yeah.
But it certainly could use a slightly stronger push, maybe, just to make it like more functional, like because I could see I can use that against in yesterday's matches, we had the Minotaur Spire, and I had a Junker, which probably one of the easier targets to spin around because it's such a wide, long ship, and a big target to hit. So realistically, I should have been just kind of flipping all over the place, unless I had tools to counter it, to reduce that impact damage, which I use kerosene a lot, and that actually reduced it significantly enough that it really didn't put me in any real danger of being moved away too much. Although, admittingly, I was pushed up against the wall a couple of times, but. I mean, the thing is just that this is also a main gun on a ship, that it's a featured gun on a ship. Yep.
That could basically fire off multiple rounds in quicker succession than mines, right? And the effect of this gun is obviously affecting your control over your ship. So I think the people who are victims of this gun, and the users of this gun feel very strongly either way. So
well, there could be a good alternative too. You can keep more or less the same impact damage, like the whole moving around of stuff, of ships and stuff like that, but increase its usefulness in terms of, say, piercing, for example. Because we don't actually have a heavy weapon that's piercing. We have ones that's flechette, one that's
sure. I mean, that's what we had before, and
explosive.
then people were like,
yeah, but it's not like it's not super strong. Like you usually have to pair it with a second weapon that can help with piercing. But if you have that one, like do a little more damage. Like you can stay pretty low level with the shatter, and okay with but the piercing is great. Like.
Well, we're starting to have some questions back up. So as you guys can see, we are divided internally on this issue. We'll definitely be looking at the weapon and figuring out the best way to make sure it's competitive and not abusive and all that fun stuff. So we'll definitely have that argument behind closed doors so we can pretend we look like that we're all on the same page when we come out with it next. Or when we talk about it either next week or the week after. So next question is, for Muse Games in general, as a company, as a company, how is Hamsterdam doing?
It's actually all right. I mean, on the side, and basically Derek has been when he's not doing animations for Guns, he's spending time working on the game, and we've actually made, I don't want to basically dodge this question because if I feel like I dodge it, I'm not being truthful. But if I answer, I don't want people to think that, oh man, we're not working on Guns and we're taking time away. I mean, it's not the case, right? I just want to preface. But having said that, I actually think, it's coming. It's actually coming along in the sense that, from basically where we were a few months ago when we're barely even touching it till now. We actually made some pretty good progress as far as how core combat is going to work, and we're doing some pretty interesting and silly things with it, and we're concepting this other alternative mode essentially of playing the game. So yeah, I mean, if people are interested, in not just where's my where's my Kickstarter money and whatever. If people are interested. I would love to show people more. It's kind of fun actually, just a change of pace in what we're working on. The project so far hasn't been really big, but it's it's funny. It's something you get a laugh at. But we're taking it really seriously too. We would definitely have more more than one argument about what we want to do with the game as well. So yeah, so we've done more work on it. But just rest assured though, as you can see, the majority of the people and focus and time and energy is still spent on working on Guns. So,
and then with regards to the June co-op release, so when you say that you'll have it figured out by Monday, does that mean within the company, or should we as fans be in on this decision as well, or will we be waiting for that announcement later in the week?
Well, wait, I want to basically say that we'll announce something definite on Monday or whatever, but we will need to sit down as a team and plan and try to wrap up some of the things that we're doing, at least have some clarity as to how much when we can basically wrap some of the stuff up, and so that we can talk to you guys, so we can start distributing the game to to people who pre-order and for Kickstarter backers and whatnot. But it's still early. Just because we deliver a build, it's not this is something that we're going to release on Steam, right? It's meant for you guys to get the game early and start playing with it and test with it and get feedback and just have some fun with it. So I think so basically the next step is just for us to with a resource, with UI, with all the current game modes, we just need to decide on a cutoff for the early backers so that we can get them in. I mean, obviously, once we do, we'll continue to work on a ton of stuff, but at least we can get you guys in on the process and try to tell you what we're working on and how you guys can help us test it.
Can you please make the camera so it doesn't fall a point in front of yourself in spectate mode? So instead of moving yourself, you're moving the camera that's following a point currently.
So that you would be allowed to see the front of you. Is that the kind of idea? So you have
No.
to turn it
So
manually?
like when you're in spectator mode, you know how the camera moves kind of weird as if it's following a point in front
spectator
of you?
mode. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So you want it to follow exactly where
so
you
the
are.
intern who made the last spectator update is in the office, and he is watching the stream, so...
Yes, he is.
Maybe I'll poke him and see if he can look at that or why that works the way it does. But no, we'll definitely check that out, so thank you for bringing it up. Someone said they were waiting on a question. If I do miss your question, it's not like because I hate you or anything. There's just a lot of statements going on, so always feel free to ask your question again. As long as you're not spamming it, we're perfectly all right with that. We are 4 minutes away, so just to warn everyone, there will be the Iron Fork happening at the start of the next hour, so you should definitely hop in game or stay on stream to watch it. You can hop in game to watch or play in it, so always fun. Any way of making tournaments easier to learn about, join, and find a team? Yes, that's a huge thing I'm into. We originally talked about doing a lot of really aggressive UI work, like changing the thing to show it off. But the newest plan, and one that solves a lot of other problems, is making like a launcher for the game. You'd see at the start. It's very work in progress thought, like open thought. So don't like quote me on these things. And I'm sure if Jerry is watching, he's like, it's not nowhere near done yet. So, but yes, I do definitely want to make tournaments more easier to see for everyone in game, not just like the people who go on the forums or the people who are signed up for the Guns of Icarus group, which is our current easiest ways to hit people. In your opinion, how much of the competitive scene affects the game's popularity to keep players and draw new ones in? And do you think the current support by the game is sufficient enough? If not, are there more plans to improve? I think no matter if we had Call of Duty, Dota level competitive scenes, we should always be looking to improve. I definitely think, so as I was talking about the launcher, I definitely think we need to do more to make these things visible, because the Aerodrome 3, which Muse is now signing up for as well, is going to be happening soon. We put up an announcement trailer. We've hit all our social media, and I don't feel like we've hit enough players. So as I said, the launcher is going to be a great way for us to do that, and we're going to keep looking for more ways. If you have tournaments that you want to be a part of, that you want to start, that you want to show off more, that you have ideas to show off, hit us up. We want to do everything we can, kind of thing.
Oh. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know exactly what happened there, but we appear to have a bit of a problem. We're going to try getting back into this call, but right now you've got the Jacob show here on Guns of Icarus. I'm going to try and get back into this, but this is it's being very stubborn. I'm going to exit that, and I'm going to have to try recalling everybody. Just give me a second. Oh, the joys of whatever this is. Well, we're very sorry, guys. I'm trying to get back in. I bet the rest of them are all panicking as well. So, worry not. It's trying to make me re-sign into my thingamabobby. So let me do that. What is my password for this? It should be this. But apparently it ain't. Oh yes it is. Right. We'll get back in now. In the meantime, guys, if you've got any further questions, please ask them. But we should be alright.
It's going to be hard for me to say, oh yeah, we're going to release on XYZ date, because that's kind of irresponsible. So I would like to kind of nail that down first and take one step at a time. But you know, that's not like really saying that, oh, we're stalling and taking our time. But I really do want to make sure that when we have some like actual firmer dates or schedule, whatever, it's not just like, you know, some random date. But I think I do want to like caution people, like just like, okay, fine, if we say that we're gonna, you know, we're gonna release and we don't make it, all right, like we're gonna delay. We usually have. I would like to think that I have good reasons why I'm gonna delay it. So it's like I don't want to be like, oh, okay, you know, I want to call out a date, and then if I don't make that date, then somehow like, oh, you know, I'm being you know, not trustworthy, or I'm lying, whatever. But that's just sort of the nature of development. All right, like I would like to get the stuff done as soon as possible, because why wouldn't I? But it doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, just because like I say a date, I'm necessarily going to keep it, or I'm, if I delay, I'm lying to you. Like, that's just not.
Hey guys, just to let you know that for a short time I was kicked out of the call, so your end of the stream went down for about 30-40 seconds, so the question that you're answering probably didn't make it onto the stream.
So we're grabbing the question we missed. I'll do a brief summary.
Summarize while I fix it.
All right, well, I was just like having this philosophical thing about like.
But yeah, Howard is having a really deep discussion about the role of release dates and games, and
He had the
we stand on that.
Wistful monologue about like release and whatever, indie dev, like whatever. It's all fun.
Okay, so the question we were answering was, will there be a release date for Adventure Mode? And Howard was saying we do not have a release date now because we're not sure if we can keep it. And when we do give a release date, even if we we said, we want to release Adventure Mode next month, if we delayed it, we want you to, have faith in us that we're delaying it for a reason, either because we, don't believe it's ready, or that's probably the biggest part, is like there's something not ready that ruins the gameplay experience and would ruin it for you in such a way that we think it's basically unplayable kind of thing. Because we want to give you the best product and the one that you can give us the best feedback on as well, so we can take your feedback into consideration. Because that's why we want to release it early and give you guys, give the people who pre-ordered and kickstarted the early access to it, is because it's really important to us to get the great feedback. With that, though, we are 2 minutes over. The Iron Fork of Friday is going to be starting. If we missed your question, or you feel like we didn't answer your questions enough because we got cut off, definitely email us, feedback@musegames.com. We answer every email that comes in. So anything you're curious about, ask us. We will be leaving for now, but you can see us Tuesday and Thursday at 5 p.m. for the dev games here, or in-game, play us for free items, or again next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, where Eric is not back next Friday, is he?
Eric should be back Monday, I think, or Tuesday latest.
All right, so Eric will be back next Friday, maybe, if he doesn't get swamped with all the work he missed while he was gone. So we will see you guys then. Enjoy the Iron Fork, which will be hosted here, and it will be playing in game, so definitely hop in game to play or watch. So thanks, everyone, and we'll see you later.
Bye.